Welcome! Today we're diving into the awesome, high-scoring card game of Bolivia Canasta. Whether you've never played before or you just need a quick refresher, stick with me. By the end of this, you'll know exactly how to win.
I want to start with just one number, 2,500. Imagine scoring that many points in a single hand. It sounds kind of crazy, right? Well, in Bolivia, that's the ultimate goal.
So, the big question is, how on earth do you actually pull that off? What kind of wild combination of cards gets you a score that huge?
Well, the answer is all about chasing the single most valuable play in the entire game, the one that gets you that legendary 2,500-point hand.
It's called a Bolivia. And what is it? It's a meld of 7 wild cards, any combination of jokers and twos. Hitting this is like the grand slam of Canasta. It puts an instant 2,500 points on the board, an absolute game changer.
Now, while the Bolivia is the dream, it's not the only way to get a massive score. An Escalera, which is just a 7-card run, all in the same suit, that'll net you a whopping 1,500 points. And then, of course, you have your classic Canastas. A natural one with no wild cards is 500 points, and a mixed one that uses wilds is 300. Knowing these values is absolutely key.
Okay, so to chase these giant scores, you first need to understand your tools, right? Let's take a quick look at the cards you'll be working with.
We're playing with a massive deck here, 162 cards in total. That's 3 standard decks plus 6 jokers all shuffled together. It's a 4-player game with 2 partners on each team, and the cards are pretty simple to get. Your naturals are just your regular cards, the wilds are all the 2s and jokers, and then you have the 3s, which are very, very special.
And you really got to pay attention to this part, because understanding the 3s is crucial. Red 3s, they're your friends. They're pure bonus points. You lay them down right away. But black 3s, they're your secret weapons. You hold onto them in your hand to block your opponents from picking up the discard pile. But be careful. Get caught with them at the end of a round, and they're going to cost you 100 points each.
All right, you know the cards and you know what you're aiming for. So let's get into the action. How do you actually play a turn?
The flow of a turn is beautifully simple. First, you draw 2 cards from the main pile. Second, you meld. This is when you lay down your scoring combinations on the table. And third, you discard 1 card to end your turn. That's it. Draw 2, meld if you can, discard 1. That's the whole rhythm of the game.
But let's be real. Sometimes the best cards in the game are just sitting there in that discard pile, staring at you. So what if you want to take the whole thing?
Here's how it's done. To claim that pile, you need to have 2 natural cards in your hand that match the top card. You use them to pick it up, meld that new set of 3 immediately, and then boom! The rest of that glorious pile is all yours to add to your hand. Grabbing a big pile can totally swing around in your favor.
Now, there is one little catch to all this. Before your team can lay down any cards, your very first meld has to meet a minimum point requirement. And as you can see, the better your team is doing score-wise, the higher that requirement gets. It makes the game tougher and more strategic as you go on.
Okay, so you know the rules, you're ready to play. Now, it's time to learn how to master the game. Let's talk strategy. Let's get into the plays of a pro.
If you remember one thing from this whole explainer, let it be this. Always, always know what's most valuable. A Bolivia is worth a mind-boggling 2,500 points. An Escalera is 1,500. A natural Canasta is 500. Your main goal should always be to build towards the biggest score you can. Don't get distracted by small plays.
Here are a few quick tips to really give you an edge. Always be thinking about what your partner might need. If you absolutely have to discard a card the other team wants, do it early when the pile is small, and save those black 3s. You use them to stop your opponents from taking a huge, juicy discard pile.
All right, let's put that thinking to the test. Imagine this. You just drew the 4 of hearts. On the table, your team already has a meld of 3 4s, and you've also started a sequence with a 6, 7, and 8 of hearts. What do you do with that new 4 of hearts?
So what's the pro move here? You hold on to it. Yeah, it's tempting to add it to your set of 4s. I get it. But that's only helping you build towards a 500-point canasta. By holding on to that 4, you're keeping the dream of drawing a 5 of hearts alive, which would complete an Escalera for 1,500 points. That's what we mean by prioritizing points.
We're in the home stretch now. You've played your hands, you've made your melds, you're getting close to the end of the round. So let's talk about how you actually win.
Ending a round is called going out, and it's pretty simple. It just means a player gets rid of all the cards in their hand. But you can't just go out whenever you feel like it. Your team has to have at least one Escalera and another big meld on the board first. You can even ask your partner for permission, and whatever they say, goes. Pulling it off gets you a nice 100-point bonus.
So once a player goes out, it's time to tally everything up. You add up all your big bonuses for plays like Bolivia's and Escaleras, then you add the points for every single card your team has played, and then, and this is important, you have to subtract the points for any cards left in you and your partner's hands. Yeah, those can really come back to bite you.
And what's the final goal? You play multiple hands, adding up your score each time until one team hits that magic number, 15,000 points. The first team to get there wins the whole game. So there you have it. Everything you need to know, from the basic rules to thinking like a pro. But we'll leave you with the most important piece of advice of all. At the end of the day, it's just a game. Have fun with it, enjoy the people you're playing with, and don't sweat the small mistakes. Now go play.